But it's great to meet you. And before we get into your life and your coaching and your passion, I want to know, how did you survive the last 3.5 years? How did you get through the pandemic and how did it change you?
Ooh, that's like a good question. You survive the way you survive, right? One foot in front of the other. I think that's what made me survive during the pandemic as an ICU nurse. It was quite rough. We were a community together, which is thankful because, of course, in your own, in the, like, they say they compare us to being in the trenches, which I really do feel is much death. I was an ICU nurse for 13 years, and in those 3 years of COVID, I saw more death than I ever saw the other 10 years combined.
Wow.
hmm So, and that's like I had to get out. Like I definitely still say like I have PTSD from it. Like it still just like clenches up on me. Definitely had to have some therapy through that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
wild. I mean, yeah, if you talk about all of the aspects of our society that had to deal with it up front, I mean, and I read stories and I had to stop reading it because it was just too much. And it was one of those things where it's like people were saying that the masks were imprinted on their face because they worked for so long. And there was just so many stories that went into having to deal with that over and over again. And I think the thing that gets me the most out of it is there had to be a level of those that were preventable. And that probably from a humanistic standpoint had to be the hardest thing to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's like I think like especially in our end, just like the reuse of things. Like we had a reuse mask for days on end. And I will never forget I overheard these girls coming up from like the lab. They're like, well, we just found out we haven't been cleaning them right the last few weeks. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't listen with this.
Yeah. Wow. So let's get into what's going on today. I'm going to put you into a room of third graders and it's career day. And one of the kids says, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
Ooh, I help women find love easier. That'd be the
Okay.
best way I could put that.
Okay. So how did you make that transition from nursing to helping women find love? How did all that happen?
I just like, I still wanted to help people, right? I just wanted to find it in a different light. So I did some research and then I decided, oh, let's try coaching. Like, let's see. So I went into some schooling and got certified and I love it.
Yeah.
And of course, with coaching, you have to figure out where your passion lies. And within the pandemic, I actually found my love story. So that helps near the like closer to the end, but still, I
Yeah.
found my love story and I do love love. Like it's amazing. I think it's a fundamental human need.
Yeah.
So with that, it's like why not make it easier for other women to find what I have? Which
Yeah.
is great, perfect for me. I know everybody's love story is a little bit different, but I want to help women find that love story without wasting time.
Yeah. So how did this journey begin for you? Take me back to where you were born and raised, how you got into nursing, and how this evolved into love coaching.
Okay, so born and raised in Montana on a ranch.
Okay.
There's
Yes.
that. And then I went through college and I was trying to figure out my life and I decided nursing. I do love science based and I love helping people. And I think that was like a win win. And I hit up nursing and got into ICU. I loved it. Pandemic ruined me in the nursing world. And
Yeah.
that's where I like had to like flip the switch and figure out what I'm gonna do. What can I do that still helps people, but without sacrificing myself? Because that's really what it started feeling like a lot. There was no balance.
From a statistical standpoint, did a lot of nurses leave the profession?
Yes, yes. I think they said I think it was 40% with the pandemic have left the field.
Wow, that's
Because
insane.
I stayed a smidge after the pandemic. I probably stayed another like 8 months after. And that's like now that's how they run, unfortunately, in the hospitals, is we're always so short.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that was like I think the final point is like we can't run like we did in COVID for the rest of time. Like this is not okay. COVID was bad enough, but I can't run with these ratios of patients that we do. That's not what I came in to care for people appropriately.
Yeah, the thing that blows me away is that we're the United States of America. We obviously have all of these mighty things that are part of us, but even like the infant mortality rate's low. There's all these weird stats Other
Yes.
countries are doing better than we are. We always have to wait in a doctor's office. And every time a nurse or a doctor comes in, they look harried and kind of confused, and you're not going to get a lot of time because they're running to the next person. It's like the way we have all of this set up is so anterior to mental health, which is what will ward off a lot of potential problems.
Yes.
My God.
Absolutely.
It's like
That's just
of all of the things that we do, it's like we just bumble through that. But it's interesting too with love. I talk to a lot of relationship experts. All of these songs, all of these paintings, all of these books, all of these Hallmark movies are made about something that's universal. We all want love, but we
yes.
all are so historically bad at it in the beginning. It's like we have to really fail. We're like entrepreneurs of love. We have to fail to figure out what makes sense. Does that blow you away when you think about this process?
Yes, 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 absolutely. Like, there is such like and I think also, like, there's that because there is like rom-com influences on the way we should
Hmm.
see love too, which when it comes down to realistically, right? As much as I love my husband and I love our love story, whose life is a rom-com?
Yeah, right, right.
But we live by like a lot of these rules that come off these movies and all these it just like blows my mind away. But yes, we do start out bad because how do we learn about relationships? How do we learn about them? We bumble through them, right?
Yeah,
We listen to our friends, our parents, our aunts, the stranger down the street, anybody who, because everybody wants to put input on your dating life or your
right,
relationship.
right.
And
I
you're
mean,
like,
I mean, even sex education in schools, I mean, most people have to go off on their own. And then these kids these days have access to potentially anything and everything that can be traumatic in itself. So it's like all of these things, whether it's financial independence or being good in a relationship or essential ways of reproducing on this planet are never really taught in school. It's like no wonder why we're so historically bumbling around looking for a flashlight in the dark. Like where are we supposed to find it, you know?
but
So
I'm telling you that calculus, you still using that?
I actually did not have to do that. I got away with not doing calculus or chemistry. I don't know how, but my karma came back around because I've had a swimming pool for the kids for the last 12 or 14 years. So you will never really be able to escape your shadow. It will find you. It will catch up with you. So it's wild. Um, so is somebody that's had to garner a lot of strength being in nursing and just living that life, who's been a hero for you in your life? Who's been an inspiration?
Who's been a hero in my life? I feel like it's like a constant change, right?
Yeah.
Somebody I have to say, like, there's like almost like a mentor because she's in the coaching field and I've been following, and I really feel like listening to her and listening to her voice, one has helped me lead into the direction of coaching, but it's also helped me be better. And that's actually Mel Robbins. I love Mel Robbins. I love what she's preached out there and put out there. And I think that's really honestly, I've actually sent an email to her and her team about just how much it's actually helped me in my life.
So you may have just answered my next question, which is if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend time with them, who would it be?
If I could be with anybody or be anybody.
Well, meet anybody and spend some
Meet
time
anybody.
with
Oh,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would absolutely her or Tony Robbins. I think
Yeah.
Tony Robbins is really amazing in this, like, world too, like, all this, like, growth, and they just have so much knowledge that I would absolutely love to spend and, you know what? That's probably I'm gonna manifest that. That's gonna
Yeah.
happen one
There
day
you
in my
go.
life.
See? You know what's so weird? I remember growing up and seeing all the Tony Robbins commercials and all the things. It was kind of like Dianetics with L. Ron Hubbard. There was all of this whole thing, and you thought it would go away. And Tony Robbins just hasn't. He's always remained consistent. In fact, it seems as though he's become more mainstream than anybody in the motivational realm. Like he's been in movies and everybody vouches for him because you always expect that there's going to be that magnanimous preacher that's going to do something and fall off the pulpit or they're just going to fade away, but he's
Mhm.
always remained relevant. He's always remained, doing what he's always done, which, you know for anybody out there that has any questions about him, that should be paramount to who he is,
Yes,
you know
yes. I
so
love that. I love it, and
um
like, let's just, like, he just, like, keeps talking, like, coaching and, like, how it's becoming more and more like it's always been there for the greats. The greats have always had some sort of coaching and just like
Yeah,
all of his, I don't know, I just like I do enjoy listening to him and watching his stuff also.
it's amazing.
My looker up what I look up to.
Yeah, well, and it's amazing how many coaches are out there now. Like, I don't remember there being as many levels and layers, but I've asked people about it, and they're like, "Well, just think about an athlete. What athlete doesn't have a coach? You know,
Exactly.
any of them. They have to have that. So why wouldn't you have that for your personal life? You know?" So it makes total sense, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
even the greats, they called it mentoring at one point in time, but now they're calling
yeah.
it more of the coaching, and it's just
Mm.
something that's helping people move along to become the best you wanna be.
Yeah. I heard someone say the saying, "You can't see the label when you're inside the peanut butter jar," and maybe that's the idea of coaching is that we get so close to our lives and who we are. It's like with love. They always say it's always right in front of you, you know? So, I mean, it's like I know we have
Well,
myriads of avenues of meeting, but there is a truism to the idea that it's somehow, some way, it's right in front of you.
there's that, and there's the story we tell ourselves, right? There's always
Yeah.
the story we tell ourselves, whatever it looks like or how it looks like, but sometimes we forget that we are telling ourselves a story that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that
True.
can change. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of, like, dating, like, we have so many limited beliefs, like, nobody understands me, I'm never gonna find the one, or, like, this is so hard. Like, there's just stories we wanna tell, and it doesn't have to be that way.
No, no, it certainly doesn't. So what is the motivation for you? Every day you get up, you have this life that you live, these motivations to help women find love. What is the ultimate motivator for you every day?
Besides love.
Well, I guess that it's a Venn diagram. It all comes together.
That's the thing, I truly, truly believe women, men, everybody, I feel like it's, as I said, a fundamental human need, and I feel like I love that I can help. And it's a different help, right? Because I love helping people. I was a nurse for so many years, wanted to help people. Even then, the scene and the impacts that love have on like couples, like the couple that have been married for 50 years and holding hands on the deathbed, just like,
Yeah.
or family members, just like people who are there in love. Like, love is just amazing. And I do think that we all get to have whatever your partner looks like hand in hand, having somebody do this adventure of life.
Yeah. What's the one thing that's the common thread when you have a potential client that you have to help them overcome to get to a place where they can find love? Is there a common thread, a silver lining?
I feel like there's to help them find that they need to get over, like there's a couple. One is being vulnerable. I think that's really hard for people, especially if they've been hurt in the past.
Mhm.
And that's hard to get over and get into, but that's a very necessity part of your foundation for finding and having love. That, and I do believe self limiting beliefs are a big thing. And then my third one I'd have to say would be boundaries, especially for us women. We have a really hard place of putting good, healthy boundaries out for our relationships. And of course, communication. I mean, I guess there's
Yeah.
a few things.
Yeah, right. No, I know. Yeah, but I would imagine there was some very chief ones up front. So, I keep thinking about that song, Who Wrote the Book of Love? So you're obviously writing a book of love for a lot of people, and there's success stories that go into that. What's one of your favorite ones?
Ooh, one of my favorite success stories. I I just love how enlightening well, I do like there's like a lot, but I remember this girl, she I'm fine mine. She so cute. She wanted to be with somebody, but she like this is like one of the things that she did. She was an extrovert.
Mhm.
No, sorry, introvert pretending to be an extrovert because that's what she thought was wanted. And then it
Yeah,
just wasn't working out with these men because they were like, "But I thought you wanted to do A, B, C, and D." And she's like, "Yeah, but it's too much. It's too much." But then she just like embraced her introverted self. This was just so cute. And because her favorite thing was to sit in the backyard and look at her bird bath, read her book in the morning, and just like have that time.
yeah,
Well, she found a guy who loves to sit by his fireplace in the evening and read his book. And they're like, they love being at home.
yeah.
It's such a great time. And it
Mhm.
just makes me super, super happy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into the version of you, say senior in high school, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've led, the wisdom you've gained, the things you've overcome, what advice would you give your young self?
Ugh. biggest thing I would tell myself, considering the life I've had, is to listen to your gut.
Yeah.
If some like I feel like relationship situations and all that, I feel if I've listened to my gut more, one, I wouldn't have been in a few relationships I was in. Two, I probably would have done some things in my life. Like just like if my gut says no, like we have the best intuition in ourselves that we like to ignore.
Yeah. So, do you miss nursing at all? I mean, you obviously had a long run. Do you ever think, "Man, I'd like to get back into it," or are you okay?
I'm okay. Because I talk to my friends that are still in the nursing
Yeah.
community, and I'm like, "Oof, that still just sounds awful." I like so as an ICU, well, any nursing, there's a lot of science, but I also remind me with brain and habits and all this, there's also a lot of science. There's also chemicals, especially with love, you know? And so I get to still use my science-based practices in a
Yeah.
sense in coaching. So, no,
Yeah. You're good.
I'm I'm good. I
Okay.
did I had a great time. I enjoyed the 10 years of ICU nursing. You know, there's the last 3 years that I can block out, but
Yeah. Well, I think that's what everybody went through, and it's the same thing with love. I think everybody reevaluated where they're at, who they are, what they want, what they need to get rid of, and how they can lead a better life, and I think that's just a part of the process. And I think that sometimes I feel like when I'm walking around now, I feel like I'm in that HBO series Left Behind where there was all, whenever like the day of the rapture, it's like there's a level of all of us that have gone through a lot of things. Like we all, like this wasn't just one continent. This wasn't
right.
just a couple of countries. This was the entire world, and everything that we did was affected. Everything, you know.
Absolutely.
So we've all seen some things for sure.
Yes, we all have seen some things. We've all lost some people to some extent or
Yeah,
lost some part of our life that changed. But definitely I feel like it gave us a lot of time to, as you said, like to reflect inward. I think it's actually like it's kind of nice because I do teach like with this for my coaching intentional dating. And I think that's like another thing is like people are now dating more intentionally because
yeah,
they know what they or that's what they want to do because no more games.
yeah. That's right. And I would imagine it would make that bond stronger. There would be something about that, the laws of attraction that would be changed because of what we've gone through and what we're living in right now, you know? So,
Better alignment, a better alignment of who and where you wanna be.
yeah, for sure.
As as like
Yeah,
this.
exactly. So, let me ask you this, Melissa. Everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
What's the perception of me? I'm a great cheerleader. I have that perception. I love cheering people on their successes, and I love to be supportive. I like to see that of myself. Let's see, what other perceptions do I have? Outgoing, loving, and kind. That's definitely another thing that way I see myself.
Yeah.
Curious.
Yeah. Right on.
Curiosity.
Perfect. So, if anyone wants to hire you, learn more about you, anything about your world, where do they go? Where's the best place?
So I do have my website, infinitelylovecoach.com, and I am on Instagram as Infinitely Love Coach. And I do a 45-minute free evaluation call to see if it's all a great fit and do that stuff. And then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Melissa, I'm so glad that you've been part of your story. This has been wonderful. Best of luck with everything. Keep writing the book
Thank
of love.
you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.